guys, welcome to today's episode. As always, it's great to have you with me, and yeah, I'm really grateful that you're still watching and still part of this little journey that we're taking. And yeah, it's all good so far, and I just hope you're having a good day and that you're taking on board a lot of the things I've been saying and a lot of the things that I've been trying to share with you in an empowering way, in a way that you begin to take control of you and your life and the way things are moving forward for you. As I've said quite a few times, at the end of the day, it's all well and good me saying these things, but having you apply them in your life is fantastic. If we can get to the point where what I say can be applied in your own way, in your particular situation, or if you can incorporate it into the lifestyle you're leading now, and make a few tweaks here and there with some of the little nuggets of wisdom I've been sharing, hopefully you are now becoming more empowered each and every day. Or if you're not yet, then I'm hoping that as the series goes on, that you will start to kind of understand what I'm trying to share. And as I said, I love to do things from a soulful perspective. So if I can start getting you to kind of tap into that soulful element or that soulful side of yourself, then that's fantastic, and don't worry if you're not getting it or you're not, feeling some of those connections yet. Don't worry, because this is all evolution. This is all part of the process, and we'll be learning more and more things, and we will be learning additional ways to apply things on a more soulful level. And what I thought, as I'm waiting for feedback, what I thought I would do is do things, inch by inch, not leaps and bounds, but inch by inch, so that if you're one of those people that think, I can't do that, or it's not really for me, then, you won't feel, wow, she's taking this, in a completely different direction from when she started. You'll say, okay, I get it. I understand. I'm embracing it along the way. And, hopefully one of the things I've said a lot is hopefully you will be evolving. And I love that word, because I just feel that as people, if we can continue to evolve, then, we are always learning. And if you're always learning, you're always growing. And I love that kind of aspect to life, the growth, the evolution, nurturing things. I love, and my favorite word, what's my favorite word? Embracing. Yeah. Embracing things, all those things are very, very empowering, I think. If you stop growing, if you stop learning, if you stop all those things, then it's almost like you're wilting away. I see it as sabotage, really, and you don't want to do that. Now, today, as I said, a lot of what I do, or what I'm talking about in this particular series, obviously it's not a lot of what I do. I mean, what I'm talking about in this series is taken from my, they're kind of like mini books, digital, and I will be uploading them so that you can download them if you like to go through them in your own time. And I'll be kind of putting them up in video version, but I do have PDF versions as well, but the video versions have audio with it and have little reflections, so you might quite like that to kind of play or listen to, even in your own time. But a lot of what I'm covering in this series, I'm taking from that little mini book, which I've called for now inspirational photo. No, hang on. It's a long title. Inspirational photo quotes for the soul. So these are works of mine that I've kind of collated, and I'll be doing more because I have a lot of fun with it, because they're very colourful and bright, and I love colours, I love brightness. So yeah, I'll definitely be doing more if I can find the time. That's one of the things that is really hard to come by these days, but if I find the time I'll be doing more. But I've done a few anyway that I will be uploading little by little, so that you can view them yourself, and you may recognize some of the ones that I've chosen, and yeah, just see in your view if you can find deeper meanings to some of these works or writings. You know, sometimes I just call them passages because, as I said, it's really hard to define what I write as being one particular thing. It's kind of a variation, and you know, I wouldn't classify it completely as, you know, affirmations or quotes or sayings. Sometimes this stuff taps into kind of more deeper meanings, so some may even view it poetically, I guess. I've never considered myself to be a poet of any sort, so I don't know if I can even say this is poetry in some way, shape or form, but there are some that come across poetically, so, you know, take them as just writings, Alicia's writings, or Alicia's inspirational writings, and yeah, see what you feel. You might even give me feedback and say, you know, based on the sort of things you talk about, Alicia, these are, you know, such and such. Sometimes I just call them inspirations or inspirational passages, because it is hard to define them. A lot of the marketing and promotion of it, I sort of say quotes, affirmations, because some are very much like affirmations, but surprisingly enough, some sort of, the thing with affirmations, they've always got to be positive, but some of my writings are basically kick you up the butt stuff, you know, where it doesn't come across positive. It's basically saying, if you don't do such and such, then, you know, this is bound to happen. It's interesting because in my Soulful Pathway series, in one of my Soulful Pathway series, there was a kick you up the butt type passage in there, and someone, you know, read that, and they gave me like a negative review because of that one passage, but it was basically a kick you up the butt passage. So yes, a lot are very positive and inspirational, but some are kind of like, you know, come to grips with this, you know, get into the zone with this. If you don't get a grip of it, then this is going to happen. So not in a negative way, but in a way to sort of say, listen, kick yourself up the butt, get into action, do something. If you don't do it, you know, you are going to allow XYZ to kind of become part of what your experience is going to be. So, you know, it varies. So yeah, never mind, you know, these things happen, and you know, a lot of people do have particular expectations, but as I said, everything is inspiring, but there are some inspirational passages that come through to me that are kind of trying to push you that little bit more further, rather than be just fully hunky-dory, you know, positive. Some are like trying to get you to think about a particular thing or particular situation that's going to spur you into action. And, you know, lo and behold, I need to share as much as I can in the variety that it comes in. Obviously, if a passage had negative connotations, then yeah, I wouldn't be happy with it. But, you know, I understand some of them are basically to get you to act. I guess that's the best way to put it. You know, get you to act, get you to do something or change something. Because if not, you are literally inviting aspects into your life that you don't really need to, or you shouldn't be inviting. So there we go, sort of a long-winded way around things, but yeah, hopefully you understood what I meant. You know, I was trying to, you know, sort of say, yeah, everything is positive and empowering, but there are some kick you up the butt ones that I still like to share. Anyway, today, this is not really a kick you up the butt one. This is more of a sort of a something to think about, okay? Really, really think about. And it's something that I feel we're not taught a lot about, to be honest, or we're taught that if you do this, then, you know, you're weak. That's what we're kind of taught. And I love this passage because it brings another aspect to this topic or subject. And this is what the passage says for today. Okay, and I'm just going to lift it up so that I don't have to bend my head too much to read it to you. And it says here, okay, or I'm sort of messing up the light, aren't I? It says here, I've called it As I Am. Okay, now it says, when I am humble, I'm reminded of who I am. For with it, I am able to see myself with true clarity as I am. And I don't know if you want me to repeat that, but I'll say it again, because this is quite a deep one to get your head around. And it says, when I am humble, I am reminded of who I am. For with it, I am able to see myself with true clarity as I am. Now, you may you may say, wow, well, you know, not many of us like to be humble, because it does come across like, oh, that person's too humble, that person's too weak. And, you know, kind of being humble all the time is not a good thing. It's, you know, yeah, it's just basically what we're kind of told, you know, be strong, stand up for yourself. And yeah, of course, we are all aiming to be empowered, stand up for ourselves. But the thing about humility is it's actually quite a powerful aspect to have, or to kind of embrace, my favorite word, as a part of your being. And I'm going to explain what I mean, because on the surface, it's like, yeah, you know, being humble doesn't really serve us well. Well, there is a very powerful aspect to humility. And one thing I like about the passage, it said two things. One, it reminds me of who I am. And then later on, it says, through it, meaning if you can sort of be humble at times when it is needed, you get clarity or true clarity as who you are, or as I am. In other words, you know, clarity to remind you of who you are, and clarity to see yourself as you are. Those are powerful things, because you wouldn't normally associate them with humility. you know, because when are you humble? I would say be humble when you know you need to be, when you know it is required of you. You know, sometimes you may not bend to the wish of humility, because, you know, you may think, no way am I going to, you know, sort of come across as, you know, feeling, you know, that I should be humble, or come across in a way that I look weak. And that's fair enough, because sometimes, you know, you don't want to reveal those aspects of yourself. However, I think what this passage is reminding us is the act of being humble can also be empowering. It can also take you from someone who may be stuck in your way and in your viewpoint, and humility may get you to act in a certain way that you realize that you can learn more about yourself. You can get more clarity on who you are through the act of humility. Now, a lot of you may not believe me and say, what's she talking about? I'm not going to be humble, you know, but there is a very powerful aspect or element to being humble when the time is right, or when it is needed in your life. You know, you don't always have to be right. You don't always have to be, you know, the person who never forgives, never, you know, gives a little, in terms of how you see yourself, and because you want to come across as strong, you want to come across as brave and, you know, empowered. But what I'm trying to say is, and I think what this passage is trying to sort of get us to reflect on, is humility can also empower you in a powerful way, beyond, you know, the way that you think empowerment should be perceived, you know. And I don't know, I mean, there have been many instances in my life when I've had to embrace humility, and no doubt it's the same for you. You know, no doubt there have been times in your life when you had to eat humble pie, not in a derogatory way, but in a way that people admired you for the fact that you were humble enough to speak the truth, or humble enough to act in a way that they were not expecting, or humble enough to offer your forgiveness when, you know, most people would no way offer forgiveness. You know, there's various aspects to how this can be employed or perceived. But, you know, if you can see humility as a powerful tool in your arsenal as part of life, then you can, you know, be humble at times when it is required or needed, and not in a derogatory way, in an empowering way. And I think that's the key to this passage. How do you be humble in an empowering way? Because in the act of being humble, you see yourself as you truly are. It forces you to see yourself in a way that, you know, you might be refusing to view yourself in this particular way, or you might be refusing to make a choice or decision that you don't want to appear weak in any way. But through humility, through that act of humility, when it is needed, when the timing is right, I'm not saying go around being humble that everyone walks over you and treads all over you. Do you know what I mean? I'm saying be humble when the timing is right, when you know you need to be humble, when you know that this act of humility is one that is going to serve you in a way that you grow, and in a way that empowers you far more, believe it or not, than if you didn't undertake that act of humility at a specific time, or in a particular moment in your life when it really was needed for you to turn a corner, or for others to see you in a way that allowed them to turn a corner, or in a way that you can say, you know what, I don't mind being humble about this, because I understand that my humility is not taking anything away from who I am, but it's actually adding value to who I am. It's actually, you know, allowing me to kind of get clearer on the type of person I am and the type of person and message I'm giving out to people. And that's very, very empowering. If your humility can give you some type of clarity on the person that you are, have a guess what? That means you are growing. It means you are evolving. It means that you're not taking who you are for granted or other people for granted, but you are seeing with clarity more about yourself than you may recognize at a particular moment in time. And this is something others may recognize or see within you, but, you know, maybe they can't share that. Maybe they don't want to say, you know, to me, this is coming across as such and such. To me, you're acting in a way that, you know, is unacceptable, and in a way that I don't even feel that that's a really nice thing or nice way to go about things. If you can embrace humility in times when you need to, you can step back and say, wow, you know, I'm through my humility or being humble in this case or in this particular situation, it's telling me more about myself than it is about others, or it's telling me more about myself than it is telling me about a particular situation or circumstance even, you know, and that is empowering. When I did this writing, there were things like this that came through to me, and, you know, if it was me just writing stuff, I wouldn't be writing this kind of thing. But because of the channeled aspect to my writing and the, you know, the automatic writing process, it's like I have no say in the matter of what is coming through. So I write it down. And there are things that I write that, you know, I don't necessarily immediately kind of understand the deeper essence or meaning in them. You know, I see them and I think, you know, I don't know about that. But as I start to delve deeper, which is what something I'm encouraging you to do with my work, as you start to delve deeper and reflect on these things, you start to see deeper meanings. And I'll tell you why you start to see deeper meanings, because as I've always said, these channeled words and works come through on a soulful level. So it's easy to read them from a kind of a mind perspective, like, you know, oh, you know, I've got a brain, I've got a mind, I read those words, my mind processes them, and that's it. But what I'm encouraging you to do is to read these words from a soulful perspective, because one of the passages that came through when I was trying to define some of my work actually remind me, because I'm running out of time, remind me tomorrow or for my next episode to talk about why I consider my work to be soulful. I'm going to jot that down, yeah, so that I remember. Hopefully someone will remind me in the comments why I think my work is so soulful. And because I want to share 2 quotes with you that came through to me that did re-emphasize, yeah, the soulful nature of my work. And I'm going to share those with you because I need to dig them out. I didn't want to, you know, they kind of committed to memory, but I didn't want to say it and misquote myself. So what I thought I'd do, remind me to talk about, You know why? I think my work is soulful, and I will tell you about that tomorrow. But for now, this soulful aspect to my work is basically tapping into you on a more soulful level. Actually, the quote I remembered now, one of the quotes is, "These words are not written for you, but for the soul within you." That's a powerful one, isn't it? I'll talk about more about that one tomorrow. That the words that I write in my writings are not written for you. In other words, for you to kind of digest through your mind, but they're written for the soul within you. And that's why I always find deeper meanings in what these words are saying, because they're tapping into me on a soulful level. And that's what I would love to teach you, to view my writings on a soulful level and to say, wow, when I initially read that passage with my mind, I thought of just this. But when I reflected on it, it made me think about this. And that's the key to my writings and work, getting you to tap into deeper meanings and understandings than just what your mind is reading on a piece of paper, and if you can do that, then I don't know, for me, it's helped me grow a lot, because I've kind of had to think in terms of more than just seeing this all as just words that I've read. I see it more as words that always have soulful and deeper meanings. So, that's that's me. That's my writing and what I'm supposed to be teaching you to view it or read it as. Because you know what I'd love, further on down the series, when I get your comments and I get your feedback, you say to me, something, Alicia, I read one of your passages, and, it doesn't matter where you read it from, but, I've read one of your passages and it had a deeper meaning, or it stirred me more than just on a mind level, because on a soulful level, I felt what the words were saying to me were XYZ. That's what I want to get you guys to kind of feel you understand or get to grips with. You might say, this is all nonsense in this day and age. We have to be very kind of fast in what we read, what we digest, what we take on board. Who's got time to sit and say what are the deeper meanings and so on and so forth. But that's true. And there are there's a lot of my material out there on Twitter and social media that is for that fast pace, is for that quick bam of inspiration, and instantly you feel better. You check my Instagram and my Twitter, those are things that you can read and be immediately like, yes, especially the Twitter feed. I've put so many inspiring, quotes. And as I said, I've been doing Twitter for a long time. So, I was doing it back in the day when things had to be very short. So those are perfect for quick kind of, quick fix inspirational stuff that you can read and say, yeah, I feel so much better right away. But there's a deeper aspect to my work, more so in my kind of books, but also in this series that I'm trying to get you to read it to your soul, see things on a more soulful level. Because, and you may say, hey, why are you doing that? Why? The reason is because words that resonate within your soul last far longer than words that resonate in your mind. Because guess what? The mind is always being affected by the external, whereas the soul is not affected by the external. The soul stands strong. The soul basically not just empowers you on a soulful level, it's unwavering. You know, it's not like the mind that says, oh, this happened and that happened and this happened today, so you know what, oh, I feel so this and I feel down and I feel lost and, you know, I'm so upset and angry, da 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 da. On the soulful level, the words that resonate to you on a soulful level stay there in a very powerful way. And, you know, that power is the power you need, or is going to be part of the tools you're going to need to turn things around or change things going forward as we head out into the future. Anyway, I think I've spoken enough today. So yeah, we're going to have some more of this. I'm going to kind of talk a little bit more and remind myself, don't forget, gosh, I hope I remember to remind myself to talk a little bit about why my work is soulful. I've mentioned little bits now, but I can go in a little bit deeper, you know, in the next episode. And also, just to say to you, be humble when you need to. Don't forget to have that in your arsenal of things that, you know, who you are about. Make it work in an empowering way. And if it does, and I can, trust me, you will see that humility, when needed, is so empowering, and it will give you further clarity on who you are, where you're going, and who you are destined to be. So there we go. So listen, I'm going to say goodbye for today and for now, but you know what? I will be back shortly with another episode, so look out for that. If you're new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe. If you like what I've said, don't forget to stick a thumbs up and, you know, share. Like, you know, if you think, wow, I really did like what you know, Alicia was saying, and I think someone needs to hear this, or I think more people need to be made aware of my work and what I'm talking about, then please do share it, and let's see how we can make things happen. And if you really do wish to support me in any way, shape or form, you can do so at my Patreon page. That is something only do from the heart. But whatever you do, as I said the other day, or what I realized the other day, is supporting me in that way allows me to do more to support others. So I found that to be a great way to view things. So yeah, head on to that page if you want to. But for now, I'm going to love and leave you. Take care. Bye.